video where she is saying, I'm a Christian now. Can you believe it? She's a Christian? No way. There's definitely no ties between being a right-wing freak and being a Christian. From non-believer to Christian, my spiritual journey, it always goes like this. And it always will go like this. And do you know why? Because the right-wing grift gets more lucrative as you conform to more of their prerequisites. You can still be tokenized, but I mean, like, it's just super easy. I mean, the prosperity gospel is essentially preachers tell you that you're going to make some money, and the preacher makes the money. I mean, this is not too different from this philosophy where, oh, I'm Christian, you know? All right, let's hear it.
All right, so I thought this year we would add just a new little segment into the podcast called Ask Blair. You ask and Blair responds. So
that was jarring and terrible.
Let's just jump into some questions from Instagram. What are the most liberal opinions that you have?
Being trans is a thing you can do, probably. The most liberal opinion you have. What's the most liberal opinion you guys have, chat? Drone strikes are fine?
So, first of all,
sure, drone strikes, means testing food for kids that are hungry at school, gentrification. Any liberal opinions on gentrification? Genocide is fine, actually. There we go. There's some liberal opinions. Genocide is fine if it's, you know, within the accepted group of genocide people.
I'm a bit offended for you to think that I have any.
Wow.
Right?
I don't have any liberal opinions. Anyway, I'm trans.
I do have one or two. I'm generally pro-gay marriage, right? And that gets a bit tested sometimes when y'all act up, but overall, I'm firmly on that side.
It gets tested when you act. It gets tested when you act up. I don't even like. It shouldn't be conditional on the behavior of the like. I'm sorry. Have white people been acting up at all at any point? Maybe we just void all the fucking straight marriages. Jesus.
I am pro weed. You know, she's a bit of a. And so, you know, I'm not going to be on the opposite end of that. But is that even like a lived out opinion? I don't think it is. I mean, a lot of people on the right are fine with gay marriage, and a lot of people on the right are fine with weed. So I guess that's more of libertarian. So actually, maybe my joke at the start was accurate, that I actually don't have any lib opinions. I really don't. Like, oh, and I will say that I don't know if this is necessarily a lib opinion, but if the concept of like animal rights and animal welfare lands on the, you know, the graph more on the left, I'll say.
Yeah, it definitely does. I mean, yep. Pretty much anything that extends rights to people besides white capital owners is going to be a left-wing opinion. Your liberty to be able to consume drugs if you want to, left-wing. Your ability to be trans or gay and get married, left-wing.
That's probably one I have. I do feel like there's a lack of concern about like factory farming abuses and, you know, animal rights, protecting animals on the right. I mean, not to say people on the right don't care about that stuff, but it's not really part of the overall political conversation.
The white Christian capital landowners, they got to, dude.
And it's really not on the left either, but I'm reaching here, right? Like, y'all know I'm a little ex-vegan baby. That was me as a teenager. Cringe as shit, I know.
Cringe as shit to be a vegan? It's okay if you want to be a vegan. What's probably best is that we have more... Okay. Just for the future, in general, for America, whenever we move off of this capitalist hellscape and onto something better, maybe? Go. Like, I'm not a vegan. I'll get down on some meat every once in a while. It's whatever. My relationship with animal products is such that I think if you buy animal products, you should just try to make sure that you use it responsibly. Don't waste it. Don't treat it poorly, and try to get ethically sourced meats, or at least the most ethically sourced meats you can when you do. But of course, people have budgetary constraints. People have families to feed. You can't always make the most ethical choice, and sometimes you just want something you like, and that's 100% fine in my opinion, because like humans are on the planet where we're omnivores. It's okay. I grew up like hunting, and I think if you like hunt, you should use the animal up, and it shouldn't go to waste, and it shouldn't be harmed. I mean, I know killing it hurts it, I guess, technically, but you know what I mean? Like, shouldn't go through suffering if you can help it and stuff like that, because sometimes you just need to eat. It is what it is. But I do think that just being vegan in general, or like having often vegan meals and just having it be part of your normal rotation, or just like mostly vegan, just mostly plant-based, is probably best for everybody from you could call it a health standard, but just more it's like nutrition. I mean, you can still be like overweight or whatever and be a vegan. That happens all the time. And it's more sustainable, and it's cheaper for everybody over the long run. I think it would be good for everybody and the environment and the planet. But I also think it's fine if you want a steak every once in a while. I do not mind having both. We're going to anyway. Being totally vegan is totally respectable.
But I tried to get it removed, girl, and she got botched with a scar. Yeah, I saw some video one time of like Charlie Kirk, and one of the, libs came up to him on campus and was like, what do you think of animal rights? And he kind of like laughed and was like, well, animals don't have rights. There's no such thing as animal rights. And I was like,
that's stupid.
I was curious your thoughts on animal rights.
So the question is first, is an animal a human?
Nope.
What?
No.
Okay, so does it therefore have rights?
I mean, we already have rights for animals, for dogs, cats, and even for some
no,
farm
of course,
animals.
but do you get
less.
First Amendment protections for your dog? Can your dog own a firearm?
What, man? What?
Right.
It's been so long since I've gotten to agree with Blair White on something. Holy shit, this feels good, man. I don't even have to be mad at her at all. We could just both shit on Charlie Kirk and move on. I know this is going to happen later, but
No, of course not. So it's not the same thing as a human.
Okay.
really, we don't have room for like, we can improve the conditions of like torture and animal farms. Like, I don't know. I just feel like
not in the name of capitalism, Blair.
there is room, especially if you believe that humans are in a spiritual way meant to be stewards of the planet and of the innocent and of animals and children. I believe all of that. So, I'm not saying we have to be.
It's cold.
No, there's no spiritual component to it. What I mean, from a secular position, because I'm an atheist, I just think it would behoove us to be stewards of the planet that is habitable to us, because it's the planet we're habitable to. Like, we evolved on the place. We need this thing. As far as animal rights, animals are sapient and sentient little creatures, depending on what they are. Like, they all have personalities. Like, mammals are our cousins. Sure, we eat some of them, and they eat some of us, and that's okay. We have a rough relationship every once in a while, but it's all right. We're all little guys, and we should try not to mistreat our brethren. A dog is not that different from me. You know what I mean? Neither is a cow or a pig, but I mean, like, they're tastier and culturally more acceptable, and they've already been factory farmed. If we factory farm dogs, it would be very sad, and they're not that meaty, but it would be normal for us. And but they should still be treated well, even if they're being consumed on occasion for survival.
Be vegan and eat the bugs, girl, because she's not doing that, right? Like, I enjoy meat. Hello. But there's like a happy medium where we don't have to enable like mass cruelty and torture either. So
Yeah, sure.
probably that.
But that's
what
the
do you think
capitalist
about
machine.
the crazy flat Earth resurgence,
Yeah, flat Earth is stupid.
girl? Let's go there. Let's see how many flat earthers I have in my audience and get a little bit upset. So
There's a lot
I
of-
don't believe the Earth's flat. But I do fuck with the flat earthers for a specific reason here. What people may not know about the flat earthers, and I do know this because I have kept up with them over time. It's just
Sure.
a community I like to keep tabs on, right? My feed is like the flat earthers, the trannies, the UFO stuff, the Republicans, all that. They have many beliefs. It's not just the flat earth, right? Like, there's a lot of things that describe their sort of worldview, flat or round or otherwise. They're very skeptical of NASA, which I very much agree with their position on that. Now,
Why are you skeptical of what NASA is doing? You just say crazy shit. How come being a Christian means you gotta do this stuff?
NASA has been caught lying about things so much. They're a very shady organization. I don't understand why our tax money goes to them. They don't accomplish.
It's crazy to say NASA doesn't accomplish shit. as you like use most of the technology that's around. Like what?
I agree with their skepticism of NASA. And
I genuinely think NASA, even though they have a tiny budget, is one of the most like bang for your buck research things that the government does. It's led to so much insight into the reality. Like, and NASA isn't just like the shuttles or whatever. It's a network of things that, you know, spans the fucking globe, and they coordinate with other scientific research facilities and stuff. It's a vast network of minds. It's great. NASA and NOAA for the win. Yeah.
And the flat earthers as a community have proven so many lies at the hands of NASA. So they're right about that, right? Just because someone's wrong about one thing or a community is getting one thing wrong doesn't mean they're wrong about everything.
I disagree that the flat earthers have adequately shown that NASA lies about stuff that's important.
A broken clock does indeed clock someone's shit twice a day. They also have a lot of beliefs about Antarctica that I agree with. Not that it's necessarily like an ice wall, but that there's a lot of shade.
He used to do advocacy for NASA. They generate like $60 in the economy for every $1 put in. For real? A 60-to-1 investment turnover. That's crazy.
Going on with Antarctica. You look at the Antarctic Treaty and how every country in the world who agrees on nothing else can somehow agree on not going into Antarctica and disrupting whatever's going on over there. You know, there's a lot of...
What? There are people all over Antarctica. It's just not habitable for us. You can't grow stuff there. Like, we have settlements on there for research purposes. I don't know what you're talking about. You just can't live there. Go live in Antarctica. Go for it. I don't mind. Yeah, you just need the money to get there, and then you got to fucking try to live. Like, people have a hard enough time living in North Canada. Like, huh?
A lot of stuff they say about Antarctica that I believe to be true
like
as well.
What?
So there's just certain things they do get
No.
correct.
Okay.
They're correct to be skeptical about the Rockefeller demented ass, you know, education system, which lies about a million things. And I do empathize with sort of the amount of paranoia it takes to get to flat earth, because you see the amount of things they lie about, right? They do get some things right. And so, you know, I have love for my little flat earth homies. Talk more on your faith story as a trans woman.
Okay, after this story, I'm done. I don't need to listen to the rest of the shit.
Okay, I will. So for me, this is something I've been very reluctant, but also have wanted to talk about, just because it's so personal in like every way, and it's really not for other people, right? And I'm not saying that out of like a selfish or like a narcissistic. I'm not even gonna defend myself. My spiritual journey has been the best thing to ever happen to me in my life. I will say that, but it's been very much just about me and my own relationship with my creator and with God and with
Why does it always come here, man? What the fuck is wrong with people? Which God? Is it Christianity?
Jesus Christ. And
Yeah, well, that's crazy. I can't believe it's Christianity. That's so strange.
that's where I'm at with it right
Pro level pick me. For real.
now. And I haven't wanted to say too much, because the best thing about it is that it came about so organically and so just due to my own relationship with God that I kind of feel like putting it out there, right? And even the way
what'd you do, like ketamine or something once?
you phrased it, and I know you're not trying to sound any kind of way. I'm not coming at you, but you know, your faith story as a trans woman, right? You worded it that way for a specific reason, because first of all, it's not common for trans people, I guess, to have faith like that and to be Christians and to believe in Jesus or to have a higher power. And
I wonder why. But also, like, it's just not real. You don't need it. The community is toxic. It's a bunch of brainwashed old motherfuckers. When these people die off, it's going to be fucking great. Okay? Someday, who knows fucking when, there will be human beings who mostly live with one another in secular ways. It's going to be a thing. It's going to be awesome.
and that's sad, honestly. And that's a bit dark when you think about it. And I think there's reasons for that. I think that people in certain groups are sort of shunned by the church, and so that gives them a bad taste in their mouth. And then there's a lot of people in the LGBT community who really lean into godlessness and lean
godlessness. Blair.
into anti-religion because of their own personal gripes.
It's not a personal gripe. I don't know what the I'm not trans. I don't have a fucking, I wasn't pushed out of a church.
I hope you have a fantastic day.
Your religion's false. It just isn't true. Like, you provide evidence.
And I think that's every person in the community's sort of, journey to sort of unlearn that if they choose, right? About how just because somebody from a religious background treated you badly, that actually has nothing to do with God.
That's true. A religious person being an asshole has nothing to do with the validity of their faith. It just doubly sucks because they act this way because of falsehoods. Religion, really, the reason it bothers me so much is because it makes people act in ways they wouldn't normally act, viciously and terribly to one another, in a way that they think that's good behavior, which is evil as fuck. Hey, it's really great to be homophobic. That'll get you into the kingdom of heaven. This is what we have right now. Like, these people are trash, and they've been made trash by this religion. Without that, who knows what we could... we would genuinely have a fantastic world. Like, we'd still have problems. We would not have as many problems without the Christians pushing rightward politically every single time they vote. And it's not by accident. These groups are targeted because their brains are easier to fucking manipulate. It's not even a joke. You can there are entire documentaries and research papers and books on the subject of the right-wing organizations behind the scenes that prey on evangelical especially, but all church pulpits in America to get their message across. The abortion thing is obviously a big one. And then they get you to be a single or two-issue voter. This is why they push the DEI and the fucking trans thing. It's just like homophobia. They're just trying to mobilize that voter base so that they can centralize power into right-wing spaces. And you're fucking blind to it.
As soon as I hit 30, I really had this just thing open up in me, right? I don't think it's a coincidence that I made a concerted effort to decalcify my pineal gland.
Okay. to decalcify your pineal gland? Can a doctor in chat tell me what the fuck?
And you can laugh at that, but I really did make a strong effort to cut out fluoride from my diet. And
cut out fluoride from your diet. Because, so there was an old belief by, was it during the Renaissance? I think it was, fucking Sir Isaac Newton thought that the soul resided in the pineal gland. Is this where we're at right now? Is this fucking Newton? I don't know if it was him, but I'm pretty sure it was that.
And, there is some evidence to show that spiritual part of the brain is healthier without it. And then you start to wonder why they put so much fluoride and stuff, and they put so much emphasis on, blue light that calcifies it and toxins. And
blue light decalcifies your pineal gland. How does that even make sense? How does that even make any fucking sense, Blair? Hippies think the pineal gland is part of the brain that produces DMT. Is it part of the brain that produces DMT?
Whole other rabbit hole, right? But that was something that did happen. I also had a really, really specific experience. I had, it's hard to put it into words, but I had an experience where I really reached out and asked for something, not anything material, not anything shallow or whatever, but I really lent my hand out to my creator, and my creator really reached its spiritual hand out back to me in a very concrete way, in a way that changed my life forever. And so it wasn't just stumbling upon a church that finally spoke to me, or a Reddit group, or being influenced by anybody, right? I'm sure there's people that are going to say that I'm...
Yeah, you took DMT or something, or you went on a fucking... Did you take some ayahuasca and decalcify your chakras?
Being influenced because I have a right-wing audience. I don't really be looking at comments like that. I look at YouTube comments, but I don't really pay attention to people trying to influence me. This was organic. It really happened completely independently of any influence. And so it really was, an event, and then just me waking up.
An event. Okie doke.
Kind of came to this realization, this is just my opinion, that spirituality is not really something that you believe in or not. It's not really like, oh, I believe in it or I don't believe in it. It's more like a radio station that you're either tuned into or you're not. It's
Fuck. Oh. Jesus fucking Christ, these people. What madness.
It's a frequency you're picking up or you're not. You're interacting with or you're not. And I just had some really, really, remarkable results when I started to tune into that station.
So by tuning into the station, you take hallucinogens and then you feel like a spiritual event or whatever that you interpret as a spiritual event. It's crazy, dude. Like you taking drugs.
And something on the other side of it, really responded. And
something on the other side of it really responded. Like, man, you guys should take shrooms once. When she talks about they add fluoride to the water. Water is naturally fluoridated. Fluorine is the 13th most abundant element on Earth. It's also what helps calcium be processed by our body to strengthen bones, teeth, and our organs. There you go. You decalcify if you don't have fluoride. So your pineal gland gets its eggshell it comes off.
That's my own. I'm sorry for being vague, but that's just how personal this all is to me.
It's personal because it was drugs.
What I only really want to share today, and maybe someday I'll do a more in-depth video on my main channel or something. I just want to say that, my relationship with my creator has nothing to do with me being trans or not trans.
There's no actual proof that DMT is produced in the human body. Does the body produce DMT? I thought it was found in... so there's speculative right now. I thought we found it in us, though. Endogenous DMT is produced in the human brain, but it's speculative that it is. It's naturally occurring in small amounts in rat brains, human cerebrospinal fluid, and other tissues of humans and other mammals. There's no conclusive evidence that pineal gland releases DMT. And ayahuasca is where you would get DMT. They synthesize it as well, though. I would love to take DMT. So I forget what I watched. Maybe it was a documentary on hallucinogens. Yeah, it was. I can't remember what it was called, though. DMT is naturally... everything on Earth is naturally occurring, I guess. But, they found it like plants and stuff. And it's a neurotransmitter, and it helps... It helps. It is that true? Neurotransmitter? It fucking... When it interacts with our brains, we see shit. Sounds like DMT mimics different compounds that is produced in our brains. So it's like a different, so it changes our perception because it's not something that we normally experience, or at least not in the high enough doses. Interesting.
It has nothing to do with anything in the Matrix, right? Nothing body-wise, nothing. It's so much more. To other people in, the LGBT...
Calling physical reality the Matrix is so fucking crazy. Like, your brain exists. It's where you are.
Community or people who maybe are a bit turned off by organized religion or the concept of God, maybe due to bad experiences or just a lack of belief. That was my thing. I just had a lack of belief. It wasn't even that deep for me. I was just like, oh, I don't really know about that or care about that. I think I said that back in the day. I'd be like, oh, I don't really think much about it. I encourage people that have either that neutral non-belief
crazy.
Or that, kind of scorn feeling in the LGBT community. It doesn't hurt just to reach your hand out. It doesn't hurt just to ask and just see what happens in your own way.
Yeah. Burn some candles and ask the universe to show up for you. I'm literally just an airhead. Sorry. I know, right? I didn't really think about it or anything, and then I did some drugs, and now I'm religious. Okay. I think I'm pretty satisfied in the Blair White experience here. She doesn't really have anything going. Just ask. Just ask. Anyway, if you hear stuff happen in your head without any evidence of where it's coming from, there's a chance your very fallible human brain is malfunctioning. You could definitely stand to reconnect with reality.